Aloha, welcome back to You Are Your Own Beloved. My name is Soulfire, for those of you who have never tuned into my channel before, and for those of you who have been following me in 2023. I know I took off for a few months. Back in December was my last video that I made before my beloved Karma, my best friend, my four-legged best friend, transitioned to the Rainbow Bridge on the winter solstice. So I've been in a period of grieving and just processing my feelings and getting used to being alone because she's been with me almost 15 years, and as my little companion, my loyal companion, faithful, always by my side, following me around through everything. And it's an adjustment, to not have another being to take care of in my life. I mean, I was a single mother at a very young age, and I took care of my daughter. And then when she moved out when she was 18, but I already had Karma, and Karma was 2. And then it was always taking care of Karma. And now I don't have anybody, although I kind of do, because I have a grandson now. So my daughter has a baby, and they live about half a mile up the road, which is nice. And I think that, excuse me, I think that, well, I know that Karma was waiting for the baby to come. I just knew. And I learned that the same vector of light that the baby was born on, Karma was planning to leave on. And this video is not going to be about Karma, because I could write a whole book about her and what she's taught me and how I've grown from her, and even going through the being with her as she was shutting her body down and getting ready to leave her physical body, and everything I went through and what I learned. And but I want to say that for another video. I wanted to make this video. I thought it was important just for me to get myself back out there, because I realized that the longer that I take, the harder it's going to be for me to put myself out there. And I know that just from going through this grieving process, I watched myself start to shut down and not want to leave my house. And I think all that's normal. Like when you're going through something that's very traumatic, you want to just, well, at least I do, and a lot of you probably can relate, just want to kind of feel safe, right? And I feel safe in my home. It's like my sanctuary, and this is where I spend a lot of time with Karma, and especially at the end. She died in my arms here, and it took her 3 days for her to shut her body down, and it was really, she suffered tremendously, and it killed me. It was really, really traumatic for me to watch and be there, but she did give me the final gift of, I told her, when I found out last year that she had heart disease, and the ironic thing is she didn't even die from her heart. I mean, yeah, but I told her, I said, when it's time for you to go, I want to be there, and I want to hold you. And I got to do that, and I stayed with her, and I held her as she left her body, and it took a long time, hours, days, and but I got to be there, and I was really I don't know, I transcended my own personal feelings and emotions. So I could say, I don't even know how to describe it. I was so rock steady, strong for her as she was leaving her body, and that poor little thing, she was suffering so much, and I thought I wouldn't be able to do it. I thought I would just totally not be okay. But ironically, my best friend was here when it happened, and she, who is always my anchor, she was the one who was hysterical, and I didn't even cry. I was so steady and calm. I was just like this as she left. So again, this is not a video about that, but I wanted to talk to you and share this important message and what I went through about the whole grieving process, because I know that this time on our planet, a lot of people are choosing to leave, i.e. dying, if you want to call it dying, or however you want to label it, transitioning from their physical body to their energetic spiritual body. And they're okay. It's the ones that are being left behind that we have to deal with this loss on the physical plane. And it's really challenging. And we have to go through a grieving process. And I wanted to explain that to you because I know a lot of people, well, at least when I first experienced it when I was very young, when my daughter's father took his life, and that was really traumatic. That's all in my first book and what I went through. And I didn't really grieve. I couldn't, because all of a sudden I became a single parent and I was alone. I didn't have any family help. I didn't have any help. So I had to work 2 jobs and take care of this 2-year-old, and I didn't have time to feel my feelings. So I didn't grieve, and it all came out in other ways and later on in life. And that's what my whole, my books are about. But this time my life was set up in a way where I had the time to grieve and I had the space to grieve, and I went through it. And I wanted to share that experience with you because I think, there's a lot of spiritual teachers out there, and there's a lot of spiritual YouTube channels now. And what I notice is all these people are now channeling all these angels and other higher entities and ascended masters, and their psychic abilities, and they have all these amazing abilities, and that's great. And while I know that I have them, that's not my specialty. What my specialty is being human and being able to rise above the humanness and transmute the personal strife and struggles and adversities that we all go through, transmute it individually and for the collective. That's my gift to humanity. I've realized that because I used to be a little bit, I guess, what's the word, not confident, because I was well, what do I do? All these people are psychics and channels, and it's amazing what they do. And it's what do I have to offer? Well, I guess, what I realize is what I have to offer is I'm really in the human condition with you all. Even though I have this awareness, first it was just intellectual, and then I became embodied in the awareness, because one, I had an outer body experience that showed me how we're all divine and how we all have God within ourselves and we're all connected to God. I had that experience, which I also write about in my book. But I've also been able to apply that in my life. So I guess my gift is to be able to be God in 3D, to be able to embody the divine, but still be in 3D, or still be in human form in this third dimension, which is very dense, and which the collective is vibrating at a frequency of fear. And I'm able to transmute that darkness and rise up out of it and bring you a pearl of wisdom, of insight, of healing. And that's my specialty, and sometimes it really sucks, to be honest, because I'm kind of tired of going into the dark, and I'm kind of tired of the pain and the heartache, I know that I was meant for this, and I have that warrior strength in me, but at the same time, my heart is so, I feel like my heart is so pure and innocent and wants to believe in all just the good. And yeah, so it's that I have to learn how to balance preserving that innocence and that purity and the goodness and the benevolence and the compassion of my heart, yet at the same time learn how to nurture my inner strength and my warrior self, because having healthy boundaries is key, right? Having healthy boundaries for yourself, and also being able to rise up out of the darkness, because when we're grieving, it's a process. It's what they call it, stages. And sometimes what I notice is that we get stuck in a particular stage, and then instead of transmuting the grieving becomes our way of life. And then we just stay in this vibration of depression and fear. And we create this cage, this false sense of security around us, and we're afraid to go out of our comfort zone anymore. We just go here. I'm speaking from experience of a woman that I know here, who I became friends with, and she's been grieving for 2.5 years, and it was my birthday last month, and I asked her to meet me for like some tea or coffee or breakfast, because I was alone on my birthday, and I didn't want to be alone, and I just thought maybe this will motivate her to get out of her little, her safety zone and do something. And she wouldn't, and she was defending herself through emails and text messages that she's grieving and I don't understand. It's like, man, if anyone understands the grieving, it's me. And I'm grieving myself too. Yes, I'm grieving too. But I watched myself as I could have easily taken that route like her, but just, closing down, sheltering in, hunkering in, and becoming this hermit, or just knowing I'm only can go here, there, and here. Though that's my safety zone. I can't do anything else. And I noticed that started to happen to me as I was going through this grieving process, and I could hear like karma. I could hear her, talking to me, and she would say, "Don't, mommy, you gotta get out." Like, I didn't even want to go to the beach. I didn't even want to go in the ocean, which is like, that's like my happy place. But I was so not happy that it was so hard for me to go in the ocean. And whenever I went in the ocean, I would just start crying. And it's hard to swim in the ocean when you're crying, Sometimes you're like, oh my God, I'm like trying to breathe and swim and don't want to drown, right? But I watched myself go down to these places, and I think this is a key to the grieving process, or at least me having the awareness, is like, there's a part of you that has to, if you can, rise above and watch yourself, right? So I have a lot of important insights to share, but one, it's important if you've lost someone, or it doesn't have to be a loss of a person. It could be a loss of a furry, four-legged, of your companion, or it could be, a loss of something within you, a quality within you that is lost, There's so many different things that we could lose, and we need to grieve over and go through a process, which means you have to feel your feelings. You can't deny them. You can't just say, oh, soldier up, soldier on and man up, I'm going to be okay, and pretend that they don't exist. That's an unhealthy way of dealing with your feelings. That's what I did when I was very young. So that's one of the important things that I wanted to share with you. If anyone's going through this grieving process, you really need to feel your feelings and give yourself time and space to do that, or you're never going to be able to let it go and move on in a healthy way. But to piggyback upon that, sometimes we can get lost in those feelings, right? And me as the Pisces, I swim in the emotions. I'm a water sign, and I'm a Scorpio moon, so I'm really big on the whole swimming in my emotions, right? And just being in the emotional part of it. I could just get lost in the feelings of despair and suffering and crying every day. You have to really be smart. You have to be discerning, okay, have I processed the feelings? Am I still grieving and crying over it, or am I just going back and just feeling sad because I'm used to that and I want to feel bad? And it's really tricky. So I was watching myself, and this is a tool that I think is one of the best tools that you can learn as an evolving spiritual human being, It's to be able to rise up out of your little self and be the observer and watch yourself. It's like, okay, am I really feeling those feelings? Like, do I need to go down to that place again and just feel total despair and cry my heart out, you know? Maybe I do. Maybe I need to do it one more time. I don't know. You're gonna know. Eventually, that higher part of you, that higher wisdom is gonna say, no, it's time to get up, you know? And that's what was happening to me. It was like karma was speaking to me. It was like, Mommy, it's time to get up. You know, get up, go out. Go out, please. Go ride your bike and go breathe and sit by the ocean. And in the beginning, I made myself do it. I did. And it wasn't easy, because as I was riding my bike, I just started crying. I'm riding my bike down, you know, Elite Drive, crying and bawling my eyes out. I'd get to the beach, I'd start crying, because everywhere I went reminded me of Karma, because she was with me. Everywhere I went, she was with me. So the first times that I was doing all these things, I would just start crying, and it was horrible. It sucked. And then I'd just come home and feel worse, you know? But I made myself do it, and then eventually it got a little easier and a little easier and a little easier. And, you know, I still cry. I think I've cried almost every day since she transitioned, but I'm having more, in the course of one day, I'm having more good moments than bad. So that's kind of how I can kind of gauge how I'm doing. It's like I could wake up and I could be feeling okay, and then go on with my day. Then all of a sudden something hits me where I'm reminded of something about her, and then I'll feel really sad or emotional. I'll start to cry, and then I'll transmute that, and then I'll get better, and then I'll be going on my day, or I'll wake up and feel sad, and then get myself out of it, and then go on and have a good day. It's just like all these things, you know, you're just going through all these things, and the grieving process is everything. It's like you feel angry, and then you start having doubts about questioning, oh, I should have known that it was that. I heard that in my meditation. Oh, then you blame yourself. Oh, I should have told the doctor. Why did I forget? Blah, blah, blah. I went through all those stages of grief. It's like anger, denial, right? And then despair and just the feeling of complete like fatigue and depression. And I went through them all. It's important that you don't get stuck. And gosh, I hope my hair is not ruining this whole video. So what I wanted to share is that what I really got to practice during this whole time in my life, these last 4 months, is I got to practice becoming the parent of myself, becoming my true godparent. So, meaning, there were times when I felt so scared and alone and like lost in those feelings, and there was part of me that knew it, and I was like, oh my God, but like I said, sometimes the feeling just overwhelms you, and it's like this energy that just wraps you around, like saran wrap, and you're like paralyzed. You can't do anything. And I think those feelings of grief, that's what it does. It paralyzes you, where you just sort of like, you don't have the motivation to even get up. And in those moments, I had to speak to myself really tenderly and with so much compassion. And I started to say to myself, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. And I just be in this place of like crying and like not wanting to do anything and just feeling this total anxiety along with depression. And it's like all these feelings that are just like, I'm assuming like a lot of people feel probably on a daily basis, and it becomes so much a part of them that they don't even realize it's like it becomes their general vibration and frequency, and you can get stuck in it. But there was a part of me that was aware that I was in it, and I had to get myself out of it. And that's when I learned to really parent myself and just say, it's okay. It's okay, I got you. It's gonna be okay. You know what? You wanna sit here and cry? It's okay, cry. But you know what? We're going to do some deep breathing after this. You know, we're just going to take some deep breaths together. See, it's going to be okay. Everything's going to be okay. Just breathe. I got you. I got you. I love you. You're going to be okay. We're going to do this together. And I became the true parent of myself, of that part of me, that little girl, or whatever age that I was traumatized at. I just parented myself in a way that I really never have. I mean, consistently. Like, I've had, like, here and there, but, like, I really had to do it almost on a daily basis to get myself up and out of it. And I thought that was something that I really wanted to share with you, that almost like, I would say how God, like our heavenly Mother, Father, God, would look upon us. You know, how God has that unconditional love for us. No matter what we do, you know, we can never do wrong. We're just loved and forgiven and accepted unconditionally. So I feel like I had to do that for myself. So it's almost like I rose into my godparent and parented myself. And that really helped me. That really helped me to get out of that pure place of despair. And I am not 100%, no. I'm still hurting, and there's days when I'm just like, blah, you know, I don't want to do anything. And then I have some really good days, and I have some fun, and I've laughed and lived my life and gone on, but I know that karma's with me on a different level. And I also have this awareness that sometimes when after we've gone through the grieving process, sometimes what brings us back into the despair is our thoughts. And it's like, we've already processed that, but if we think, and this is what I watch myself do, I could just have one sad thought, and that will lead to another sad thought. And then next thing you know, I'm paralyzed in sadness and despair, crying, and I can't do anything. So I watch myself also, like with my thoughts. It's like, oh, if I have this stream of thoughts, man, I'm down for the count, you know? But if I have this stream of thoughts, I'm okay. And so it was like the split. It was like, and one stream of thoughts was like, oh my God, I miss you so much, and I wish you were here with me still, and life is just not the same without you, and I miss you, and I wish I would have done more, and I wish I would have done this, and I wish I would have had more time with you, and I wish, you know, and boom, there I am on the floor. And there's this other stream of thoughts, you know, which is the truth. It's like, okay, you're not suffering anymore, right? Thank you. You know, you gave me unconditional love and loyalty while you're here in your life with me. And now what I could give back to you is unconditional love and loyalty, and be grateful that you're not suffering and you're free from suffering. So that's good. And also, besides being free from suffering in your little dog body, you are in heaven and you're happy, and you can also be with me at the same time and be with me more and follow me around all the time now, really, because you're not in your little dog body, you're in your big form, and you're always with me. And I know that because I can feel you, and you can go everywhere with me now, and then no one's gonna give me a hard time because, like, no dogs allowed. It's like, huh, I got my dog with me, and you can't say anything, and you can come with me everywhere now. And so, like, I could have that stream of thoughts and like giggle about it and laugh about it, and then have silly, you know, just make myself laugh and make silly jokes, and it's completely different, right? So I wanted to just bring that point up. Like, our thoughts really do make a huge difference in our life. And that's why people always say, you know, all the great leaders and teachers always say, you know, all the yogis, it's about mastering the mind. You know, if you cannot master this thing in your thoughts, your life will never belong to you. And I get that. I get it. It all starts with the thoughts, because the thoughts are the seeds. And what comes after the thought is the feeling. And we think we're having these feelings because these feelings are real and they're facts, and this is just the way we feel, and that's the truth, and that's it. But it's not. It's an experience you're having, and you can change the feeling, but you also gotta watch the thoughts, right? One, and let me just remunerate that. One, watch the thoughts, but two, also, if you never felt the feelings, it's unresolved trauma and wounds that you have to be able to transmute and release. Okay, so I wanted to share that with you today, and hopefully this helps somebody. And I'm glad that I made this video. It was just Karma's birthday on Saturday the 13th, and she would have been 15. She made it just shy of 15. And so this was in honor of her. And I've been trying not to cry like this whole time. I'm very emotional because I also know that that she's with me, and she's really happy that I made this video. And if anyone knows about my story of Karma, I mean, she's really, well, I have more to tell you about her, but I learned that she's my guardian angel, and she's been with me in every lifetime that I've had on this planet. She's been with me in some sort of animal form. And she's really special to me, obviously. So, yeah, I just learned that after she passed. And anyway, thanks for listening and tuning in, and I hope this was helpful. And I just wanted to end with some deep breathing, because when we're going through the grieving process, it's really, really important that you do this breath, because it's helped me so much. Like, help me to transmute the energy. Or just sometimes I'd be in a public place, like in a store, and I'd have like this panic attack because I was overwhelmed with like emotions, and then I was in public and I was about to like break down and start crying, and then I didn't want to start crying in public, and then I started having anxiety about it, and then I started to feel out of control, like I was gonna like fall to the floor and just have like this complete meltdown. So I started to get anxiety, and when I'd stop myself and I say, it's okay, and then just breathe, you know. And you could do this anywhere, and just take that moment, take a minute, just only takes a minute to get yourself together, to release whatever feelings. Remember, feelings aren't facts. Feelings are just temporary emotions. Energy in motion. It's an emotion, energy in motion, and you can motion it out of you if you don't want it through your breath. So when that starts to creep up on you and you start to get overwhelmed in those feelings, remember what Soulfire says: feelings aren't facts. It's just energy in motion, and you are in control, and you have the power to release them. So just take a deep breath in. Try to breathe into your belly. Let yourself have this big Buddha belly as you inhale. Exhale for twice as long through your mouth. And really focus on that exhale. Really just breathe it all out and just ground yourself, right? Do that again. And notice you can't inhale if you don't fully exhale. So you just got to really exhale all the way. Let all that anxiety, let all those feelings of whatever is coming up, let it go. Breathe in the light. Breathe in the love that's all around you. Think of it. We're breathing and living in a sea of love and light. The quantum field is love and light. We live in a benevolent universe that loves us unconditionally. So when you're getting overwhelmed, just take a moment to stop. Breathe in that love and light, but make sure you fully exhale and ground yourself, because without the exhalation, it's going to be really hard to breathe in. Okay? So hope this was helpful. Blessings to you and your tender heart. If you were in the stage of grieving or loss, I I send you all my love, because I know what it's like, and it's not easy, but this too shall pass, and you will become stronger and more rooted and grounded in that space where you will be able to be more present for somebody else to help them along the way. I hope.